Couples Corner. The Couples Corner. This is the Couples Corner. With Team Bevins. This is the Couples Corner. The Couples Corner.
The Couples Corner with Team Bevins of I Still Do Ministries every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is another episode, and today you will get some good information, some great nuggets, and some tools to strengthen your relationship. The Couples Corner with Team Bevins.
This is the Couples Corner. The Couples Corner. This is the
with you, man? What's going on with you? How y'all feeling tonight? We are glad that y'all are in the Couples Corner with us tonight. I am Marcus, and this is my wonderful wife,
Cherie.
And tonight, y'all, we're talking about in-laws. So we're going to get into this conversation, and we're going to talk about in-laws. We're going to talk about, all of the components that go with it. So I need for you all to participate in this conversation. Those of you who don't have a challenge with sharing some of your success, some of your experiences, so that we can further this conversation, this dialogue. So I'm going to pray, and after I pray, we will jump right into the conversation on in-laws. Father, we thank you. We praise you for another opportunity to gather together in the Couples Corner. We thank you, Lord, for every person who has joined us tonight. And we pray, Lord, that you would be with us, that you would lead us, you would guide us, that you would give your insight, your wisdom, your understanding, so that we would be better and that we would have better relationships, that we would provide better understanding, and that we would be better examples, oh God, of your love and what it is that you desire and expect from us, so that we can be your extension. So, Lord, we thank you and we praise you for what you're going to do tonight with your people and through your people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so we're talking about in-laws. And this is something that has been, in some instances, an epidemic in marriages. And so we want to talk about it tonight. It's something that we cannot avoid. Every situation is not tragic. Every situation is not bad. But in-laws are a part of marriage, unless you are marrying someone that has absolutely no family at all. But we're going to discuss in-laws, the different aspects and components of it, how it works, how it's worked for you, things that you can do, some tools, some strategies that we can use and do that will help us to be better in our relationships with our spouses and their in-laws. So let's start off with what actually is an in-law. Let's start off with that, because some people think that in-laws are only the spouse's mother and father, and it's more than that. It's the entire family. It's the entire family. It's not just the mother. It's not just the father. It's the entire family. It's the brothers, the sisters, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the dog, the cat. Everybody that's a part of the family is your in-law. And so sometimes, without that understanding of what the in-laws or who the in-laws actually are, because, oftentimes we want to eliminate people in their opinion. We want to eliminate their existence, because we will be quick to say, who are you and what are you talking about, or why are you even saying anything, or whatever. But the reality is, everyone that is a part of the person that you are marrying's family is an in-law. And so at the end of the day, the bottom line really is, when you marry a person, you marry their family too. And because it's a package deal. So, it comes along with it. Now, there are some rules, there's some guidelines that we need to abide by in that. But when you marry someone, you get the whole package. You can't marry someone and think that you're not getting their children. You can't marry someone and think that you're not getting their parents, their brothers, their sisters. It's a package deal. Now, you need to establish some rules, some role play, some order, you know, and how this thing works, so that you can have success with it, so that you can have peace with it. But at the end of the day, they're your family. And so you married your mate and you married their family. So that's what we're going to be talking about, the in-laws. So, of course, you know, for those of you who would like to share your comments or your questions, you will be able to feel free to call in at 1-855-493-6499. Again, the number is 1-855-493-6499. And so let's talk about it. So, in-laws, you know, does everyone have to have horrible in-laws?
No, not at all.
So what do you say to that, babe?
I'm saying no. Everybody's in-laws. People hear in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law. Everybody's in-laws are not bad. They're not bad.
Good stuff. So, you know, understanding that everybody doesn't have horrible in-laws. Everybody doesn't have tragic stories and nightmares and things that they, you know, are dealing with when it comes to the in-laws. You know, that helps to get a better, you know, understanding, because at the end of the day, your in-laws are just like any other relationship. It has to be established. It has to be built. You know, it has to be, some work has to go into it. And when you're talking about in-laws, you know, let's just cut to the chase, really. The first thing is, most people don't want to be honest enough to say this, but 95% of people really don't think that there's anybody that's good enough for their child or for their sister or for their brother. You know, so when it's all said and done, nobody's really saying that, but you know, how many people are like, yeah, I just think that she could do better, or I think that he could, you know, do better, or, you know, I don't know why he chose her or she chose him, or whatever the case, you know, because people are not considering that, number one, it's their relationship and it's their happiness and it's what they're choosing, it's what they want to, you know, build, what they want to have, what they want to produce. But at the same time, you know, you have to deal with, you know, clean up in aisle 6. We had to deal with, you know, some components that. Thank you. God bless you. We had to deal with some components of, you know, of the in-laws factor that is not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're there and they're there to stay. You know, now you can place them, you can set some boundaries for what role and what part they play in your relationship, but they're there. You know, I cannot have my wife and not have my parents as well, because they're my parents. You know, I don't consider them in-laws. So, you know, I'm not gonna have her and not have them. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to coexist. We have to learn how to work together, because at the same token, she is my wife, but she's still their daughter. You know, and so although we're building and establishing our relationship, and we have some things that we need to do, you know, to make that strong and secure, I still can't act as if she doesn't have parents. That's not healthy. You know, that's not healthy for you to try to make your mate completely cut off their entire family. That's not healthy, because unless you are going to be everything, unless you're going to be their everything, you're going to be their mother, their father, their cousin, you know, their brother, their sister, because you still need people. You know, you still need people in your life. They still play a role. They still have, you know, there's still feelings and things that are connected to that relationship. So you can't just cut everybody off just because you're getting married. Now, again, you need to establish some boundaries. You need to establish some role play. You need to establish some order and some structure to who comes first. And some things change when you get married, but they're still there. They're still there. So I can't have my wife and not have her family. You know, she can't have me and not have my family, because it's a package. You know what I mean? Now, it don't mean that every day or everybody is going to get along all the time. But, you know, you grow into understanding who people are, how they are, what works, what don't work, you know, just like you do in the other relationship, you know. you figure out where the strong points are and you work with the strong points. So, what y'all know about these in-laws?
So, good evening, everyone. I would like to know, what do you do when it's been years and you haven't learned the strong points and you haven't learned, how to coexist? What do you do then? Does anybody out there have any answers for me? What do you do then? What do you do when you have years and years and years of, your mother-in-law, your cousin-in-law, your in-law, you just can't get along? What do you do as the spouse? What do you do as the one who is in the middle? You can call 1-855-493-6499, or you can type your post if you're on Facebook with us. Tell us, what do you do if you're in the middle? Most, y'all know I always have a personal story, which I do. And mine is bittersweet because my mother-in-law, I love her. She loves me. We get along very, very well. Always have, which I was a little nervous about in the beginning because Marcus is the baby. And, just some things that, our situation, for those of y'all who calculated the timeline. I was pregnant before we got married. So, it's kind of like, and we did not get married because of that, because we were not going to do that. But, because there was no reason we could still be parents without, getting married and just messing up everything. So I just want to know how, because there are other people that don't particularly like me. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say they don't particularly like me. And I'm just going to tell y'all a little bit of my story, and I may cry a little bit because this is a little painful. But sometimes for years and years and years, you try to appease that person, or you try to, go along with your spouse and deal with it. And then at a certain point, you just get to the point where, at least I have, where I can't please you. I'm trying because you're dear to my husband, but at the same point, you can't keep getting hurt. So I just, and this, it's sad because I love family. So if people would just take this time, I'm a little rough around the edges. Y'all know, I'll tell y'all that in a minute. I like the confrontation. Yes, I do. But that does not mean that I don't get hurt. That does not mean that I don't try to change, to help situations. But at a certain point, when do you say enough is enough? What do you do when you try to pray, you try to talk, you try to have 15,000 meetings? And is there a time when you just say, it's me and my spouse, and whatever you can't get, you just can't get? We're not going to hate each other. We're not going to disrespect each other. But we don't have to, well, in some cases you can't. You can't sit around and be cool, have all this conversation, because it just doesn't work. It turns into a disaster every time sometimes. But the spouse that's in the middle, what do you do? How do you, because it not only hurts the one who is having the disagreement, but it also hurts the one who is the blood relative. Yes, sir. Yes, it hurts them. Yes, sir. And so what do you do when you've married someone? And yes, the Bible says leave and cleave, right? And that's what you should do. Yes, I understand that. But I also understand that this is a process sometimes. And I know some of y'all out there have gone through this in-law thing, have gone through being hurt, have gone through fussing with your spouse. And what I would say today is never, ever let anybody outside, I don't care if it's the mother or the father, allow you to fuss with your spouse.
Right.
Because what God has joined together, the Bible says, let no man put asunder.
That's right.
So no man is no man. no matter who they are. So don't let anyone separate you. Don't let anyone put any discord in your relationship. Now, it maybe you two have to sit down together and decide how this is going to work, but you have to be in agreement. That's one thing I feel like you have to be in agreement. But my other thing, I'm just asking, if anybody else had, because y'all might help me tonight for real, because I'm telling you, this thing is painful. This thing is painful for me, because you go through years on years and years and years and years of just being like, okay, let me be quiet. Okay, okay, they don't like this. Okay, and then you just start saying no, because this is me, and I accept you for who you are. I deal with all your crap, and why do I have to do X, Y, and Z? And so maybe y'all can call in 1-855-493-6499 and help somebody. Help somebody who's going through. If you were one who went through before and now you're successful, because a lot of people look at us and be like, oh, your mother-in-law, yes, I wish I had that relationship. I have had several people tell me that. And that's great, especially how Marcus is with my parents. But there are people, even on my side, who didn't like Marcus, which is crazy to me, because who doesn't like Marcus? But, they're not alive right now, but they didn't like him. And it's painful, because you gotta see me. I'm gonna make a choice. Like, all right, that's my husband. See y'all later. Cause that's how I feel. I feel so strongly about my relationship that, see y'all later. This my husband. What you don't like, after we say I do, you have no more opinion. You have no more opinion. If you don't, then guess what? We'll come around, speak. That's it. We'll be together when there's a whole bunch of family together, but we won't be making no personal trips to your house. I know. See, it's amazing. Like 2. Now we got 2 people. So it's just crazy, because, people were like, what you gonna do now? Y'all ain't gonna get married. Y'all ain't gonna be this. Y'all ain't gonna be that. And we are everything that y'all said we weren't gonna be. So I don't understand that once the person says I do. Now, y'all, my brother wasn't married, but my brother was alive. My brother dated a few people that I did not care for. I'm going to tell you the truth. They know it. If they listening, they know. They know I did not care for it. I did not like the fact that, you're, how y'all are together, things that happen, or things that I may see that he don't see because he's so in love. And if he gave me the chance, I spoke on it. But other than that, there's no reason for me to keep fighting this battle, because if my brother love you, at a certain point, I'm just going to have to be like, okay, he'll find out when he finds out. Okay, I'm just going to deal with it. But I'm going to tell you now, don't be expecting us to be this my best sister. Stop it, But I'm not going to keep making that person feel like I hate them. I'm not going to keep making that person feel like, oh, okay, I don't really, if I had my way, no, you wouldn't be with him. But I'm not going to keep beating the dead horse. Like, I'm not going to keep doing that. So that's my thing. When me and Marcus have been married for years, and I mean years, and some of his family just don't get down with me. And it hurts. And this is one thing about me. I reach out like, hey, call me when you can. Hey, I call. I know you know my number. Stop it. Call me back. I even get texts like, I'm going to call you soon. I'm going to text you as soon as I can. Or, all right, I'm going to talk to you. Or, all right, whatever. And you never do. So we can never get things settled like that when we can't be adults. But then there are some people that I sit down and have conversations with, and I just can't please them. And so, do you still try? Do you keep on trying? When you love someone and you're with someone, and the people that they love just don't love you back, don't love you. So what do? Mix Station Radio. Call in 1-855-493-6499. Or you can leave a comment on Facebook if you are on Facebook. because this is a serious situation, and I have heard plenty of people talk about this. So I know that some of y'all out there have overcome some. I could talk to y'all on a mother, because this is number one. I always tell people, if my mother-in-law did not like me, and if she doesn't like me, she's done a great job at not letting me know. Let me just say that. She's done a great job at not letting me and none of my sister-in-laws know if she doesn't like me. You know, the main thing I thought I would have a problem with my husband was his sisters, and I don't. I believe that I love them and they love me, and if they on here, they gonna tell me. They're type in there like I really don't, but I just deal with you, and that's okay, because they never make me feel. They never make me feel bad. They never make me feel some kind of way. Never have. They always make me feel love. So, I just, I had that situation, that good mother-in-law situation, but everybody I don't have that good feeling with. I don't. And so, most people like the mother-in-law, but no, that was good. And I'm telling you, I would not have married my husband if his mother didn't like me, because I wouldn't have wanted to go through that. So I don't think that I would have married him if I had to battle with his mother from dating, because I wouldn't want to go through that. But some of these other things I couldn't see. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see. Sometimes, it's all fun and games till you really said I do, and then they like, wait, she gonna be around here? Wait, I keep dealing with her. I gotta see her every time I see you. And no, you don't, because I can go somewhere else. But and I will do it, and I have made up my mind I will. But I just want to know how y'all feel. So we have some comments. It's definitely a hard thing to choose between family and the person you love, but it's your wife over everything.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is, truth be told, these relationships need to be worked on before you get married. The ones that you can foresee, the ones that all of them technically. Like you said, some things don't show up, some things you don't know until later, till after the fact or whatever, or after a situation happens or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is or how it goes down. But the thing is that when you really look at how everything transpires within your relationship, you really want to get things settled before you say I do, because you really want your marriage to be smooth, and it can be a tug on whoever, because you have your family and then you have your mate. Now, of course, you're gonna choose your mate over, they trump everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And honestly, truth be told, some in-laws get the bad rep when it's really the spouse. Sometimes it's the spouse, and sometimes it's what the spouse does or doesn't do that creates the scenario. You know what I mean? So, like, for instance, if she and I never adjusted our structure for priorities, then it can create a problem. So, sure, it could be all about my mother when we dating. If I had to make a choice, if something went down and I had to choose between my girl and my mother comes first. But once I get married, mama gonna have to wait until my wife is straight. And some people never get that. You know what I'm saying? Good. Some people never get that. So because they never get that, they help the problem exist. Because now you are trying to be in your position while they have someone else in your position, so out of respect, out of respect, my wife would get out and get in the back, so my mother could be up front. That's just out of respect and courtesy. But truth be told, my wife should be up front and my mother should be in the back. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't like that reality, because that's the position that your spouse holds, your wife or your husband. They come first. They trump everybody else. So, sometimes we don't make the proper adjustments, and then we make the relationships difficult, because whole time, I'm saying I'm saying, my wife, I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, and this person or that person ain't whatever, blah, blah, blah. But she's not enforcing what should be taking place. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not enforcing what should be taking place. So then it just creates the dilemma. It makes things awkward, and it shouldn't. It don't have to be that way. So, it's something that we gotta look at and really assess, because sometimes we gotta understand. Truthfully, some things we just don't know. Some stuff we don't really know the order of. We do a lot of stuff wrong because we don't know the order. Right. It's a lot of people that just mess up many things simply because we don't have the full understanding of order. Like when we look at stuff like church, some people put church in the place where God is supposed to be.
Good.
And so because they don't understand the order and the structure, that it's God family church, not church family and then God. You know what I'm saying? So, people put things in the wrong place. So if you never make the right adjustments, then you can't fault the other people, because it's really your mate who doesn't have the understanding of how things are supposed to go, and the family is following suit.
All right.
So let's look at a couple of the
okay. Okay.
questions.
The next comment is, no, I don't. My father said, all down, stay down, meaning if you have shown me you don't like me, that is your choice and no burden falls to me. I get it.
Yeah.
Somebody said they don't like you on the court.
It's okay.
The two become one, so we are to approach those relationships from a biblical perspective. We are to pursue peace.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
As the song says, go ahead.
No, you're right.
I can't make you love me. Not at all. Clearly, I've been trying for years. Like, y'all just don't even know. With a smile on my face, I've been trying for years. Right. You definitely don't want a grand opening and a grand closing when it comes to marriage.
Right.
Truth. If you are considering marrying someone, you have to show them you will choose them first, so they are secure with that before they walk down the aisle, in my opinion. True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine until you get down the aisle and don't know that this stuff is going to happen.
Right.
I mean, not saying that you can't then make them secure, but there are a lot of people out here battling. My mother, and that was so good what he said, because a lot of sons are running around like, my mother called me to do this and my mother called me to do that, and you are running and you are wrong.
Right.
Your wife needs you to do something too, and you've been at your mother's house since you got off work till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And so, and let me say, I had a good father-in-law too. I did. He didn't give me no problems. But yeah, so you're running around, like something I used to do. If something would happen, I would call my father first. All right, like the first year, I guess, or so, maybe 2, 3 of our marriage, I would call my father first, and that's the wrong way. Like, I need to be calling my husband, but my father's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it, even if he fuss a little bit. I know he's gonna do it, But I would call him first, and forgetting that I had a husband, like, And my father probably wanted to say, "Don't call me no more," but I'm his daughter, so he just did it. But one thing my father always says, since she married Marcus, I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah,
but that's only when he was like, that ain't my problem. My father gets it. I can say that about my parents. They get it. Like, they are not in the business of being all up in your relationship. If you like it, they love it. They might have had their opinions, they have their opinions, but then they wind up getting over it, Right. And so, so I had to learn that is not what I should be doing. I should be calling my husband first, and then if he needed a little help, then him and my father can come together. But he should know how to change a tire, so I could just call him and let him come and do it. You got to get out the rhythm, but that was all I did my whole life, so I had to, I wasn't used to it at first. So I had to get out of the rhythm of, and I had to know how it made my husband feel. So, we should pursue peace. That's just so good, And sometimes in pursuing peace, It's not easy. It's not easy because what you think you're trying to be peaceful, the other person might not see it that way, and it's just not easy.
Right.
But that's the goal, and I do agree with that, Pastor. That is the goal, because you want to live in peace with your spouse and their family if you can. But if you can't, and their family, you want to live in peace with your spouse and their family if you can. But if you can't, then you just have to, figure out how you're going to work it out. Have a communication about how this is going to go. Okay, so when we have family dinner and they show up, how is this going to go?
Right.
We're going to speak, we're going to talk, but we don't have no private meetings. We don't have no more private meetings. We ain't had enough private meetings. We had enough private meetings, and it comes to that. So we're going to talk. We're going to be cordial. We're going to stay with everybody, stay with the group. If they start having too much of an opinion, then somebody have to speak up. Whoever is the blood relative, going to have to say, hold up. This is my wife. This is my husband. And this is how this is going to go from here on out. And if you don't take a stand with your family, then they will continue to do whatever they've always done, And some of us, I know it's hard. I know it's hard for some of us. I know it's hard to, say, I know it's hard to say, well, but my mother, but if you make them respect your relationship, watch how things change.
Right.
Watch how things change. Because some people, I really believe, some people think, some brothers, some sisters, some cousins think like, oh, that's my cousin, that's my brother. I can't believe, oh, you ain't gonna let him do that, or you ain't gonna let her do that. But they are, because they married them. Mm-hmm. And they are with them more than they're with you.
Right.
And so this is how you have to respect how it's gonna go. But in it, you need to not be bickering. You need to not be fighting. Some of us are fist fighting. You shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be messing up your whole household. Your whole night is messed up because of one. I'm telling y'all the truth. No, I wasn't fist fighting. Y'all. But sometimes my whole night would be messed up because of somebody who don't live in my house.
Right.
Yeah. Because I'm just irritated. Like, I've tried this and I've tried that. What is wrong with blah, 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 blah. And they done messed up. Listen, no more. I'm telling y'all, when you get delivered, you get free from that, you be thanking God, because no more. And as long as me and my husband are happy, then that's what I have to go on, But a part of me feels like I want to love them I want to love them and them to love me like y'all love each other. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, yeah. So, and I'm sure, there are a lot of husbands and wives out there like that, but at a certain point, I think that you just have to go for the peaceful time and just say, this is how we're going to create peace and move forward from there. A lot of couples also need a blueprint on how a marriage is supposed to work. It took me 5 years out of 14, and I had a blueprint. And you had a blueprint.
Right.
Yeah, I think so too, because, everything we can't put on paper, everything we can't talk about, everything you won't, even if you had a good household, some things you're going to experience in your relationship, you didn't experience when you was living with your parents, or you didn't see your parents experience it, because maybe they kept it from you, or maybe they,
yeah, and
they just did it smooth.
You didn't marry your mother, or you didn't marry your father, so the person you married don't respond the same way. They don't view things the same way.
I know.
As your parent did. So you can't expect to get the same result that you saw them get, because it's two different people. You're in two separate, societies, pretty much. The way that the world is now versus the way it was back then when you saw your grandparents together, or when your parents were. You were living in their house when you were a child, as well as your perspective and what you actually had eyes to see. You didn't know that you didn't know to look at some stuff. You didn't know to see some things. There were some things that you were going to miss. And likewise, God also doesn't show you everything, because you're not in a position of marriage to even understand it. So some stuff is going to be hidden from you until you get in marriage, and then those things will be revealed to you. But we have to look at the fact that in building these relationships with family and with in-law, there still has to be some boundaries and some guidelines. So sure, it may be okay that when y'all were dating that your cousin could play like this, could say these things or whatever, but like when you married, those boundaries may change. You know what I'm saying? So it might be some stuff that's not okay that used to be okay, and then somebody has to make the adjustment that, listen, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna talk to my husband like that, or you're not gonna talk to my wife like that, or you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, and it's not an easy thing to make a stand, for. It's not that it's a hard thing to make a stand for your mate, but it's not an easy thing to know that this stand that I'm making could end this relationship. So, for that cousin that you're saying, hey, listen, you're not going to talk to my husband like that, or you're not going to talk to my wife like that. And so, when you got to check somebody because they don't understand the position of your mate, you chance that they may not be able to bounce back from that check. But oh well.
See you.
But oh well. You see what I'm saying? The goal is not to lose family. You know what I mean? That's not the goal. But it is the goal for everybody to understand that we are one. And so when understanding that we are one, you're going to respect my husband, you're going to respect my wife the same way you respect me, if not more, because that's what I demand. You know what I'm saying? And so, and even in some cases, as spouses, we may have to grow to that place because we may not have came into the marriage with that mindset. We may have came into the marriage with a different perspective or whatever. And then you learn, of course, over time or what have you, of the value system and where everybody should fall and how things should be handled or whatever. But, at the end of the day, it's all about position. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to walk into a major corporation and disrespect the owner, and think that that's just going to be okay. And then everything else is just going to be all right. And then we just going to keep on keeping on and whatever the case. So, those kinds of stands and those kinds of, things have to be done. There has to be some positions established, within the relationships, so everybody is on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we can all sing together, but we can't all talk together. There has to be an understanding, and we have to know what people are doing and what they can't do, and establish those things. And at the end of the day, there's some approaches too that we can strive to do or to have, because they will help in some instances with us being able to get to the places that that you want to get to. So like it's more stressful for women in most cases, with in-law relationships. It's usually more stressful for women than it is for men, and usually it's because the women love to see their man building a bond with their family, because when that man is showing that interest that he wants to have a relationship with your parents, with your brothers, with your sisters, with your cousins, it's because I love you and you love them, so I now love them. You know what I'm saying? And so for a woman, that means a lot. Most men don't really care a whole lot about that. You know what I mean? It's not that they don't care at all, but they usually don't care to the degree that women do. So if something happens and those relationships are not as strong, or they're not, thriving or growing, or, they have hiccups, then that would usually be a little more stressful on a woman to be like, man, my cousin and my husband, or my father and my husband, or whatever, whomever and my husband are not clicking, and so now I'm kind of torn between, because that's my family, but that's my husband, and I done seen him try to reach out and try to do and try to make things work and all of that, but now that can put a stress on that individual, which ultimately is going to put a stress on that relationship. It may not, and nobody is trying to do that, you know what I mean? But just wherever there's stress, it's going to leak. Stress is going to leak. So if that situation creates stress in that spouse is going to leak that stress into the relationship. So, those kinds of things are, they're kind of important for real, because they help us to make the better decisions that give us, the kind of tools that we need to make these relationships a little better. You want to read some of the,
That's it.
oh, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question would be, in this type of scenario, and you guys please chime in with what you think on it. How do you repair something when it has scars? It may not necessarily be broken, but it has damage to it. So how do you repair what has damage to it in some of those in-law relationships? And again, going back to the statement that I made earlier about, many people won't necessarily come out of their mouth and say those words, but most people really don't think that somebody is good enough for their daughter, their sister, their brother, their husband, their son, So, because of the way that they see their child. So because of the way they see their child, it's almost like, God and Jesus. You see your child spotless when the spots on them. That ain't Jesus' case, but they ain't perfect, but you see them perfect. So you're looking for perfection for that person that you see perfect. And so anything that you see that you feel could potentially be hazardous or could have some type of tension or anything that it could potentially do. Now you trying to step in and be a superhero and protect your daughter, your son, your brother, your sister, your cousin, but they have to make that choice. You're not in that relationship and you're looking from the outside, and what you see may be valid, but all you can do is present it to the person. They still have to make the choice. And some people will go too far trying to make their point and then end up breaking the relationship with the actual family member because you're trying to drive home your point when they ain't trying to hear it, But when there's damage to those relationships, how do you, how can they be repaired?
You can call in at 1-855-493-6499, or you can type on Facebook if you're with us on Facebook. I will say that if you do not, as the blood relative, speak up, then it will continue until you speak up. Mm-hmm. And then when you speak up, one or two things will happen. The respect will come, or the whatever is going on will stop, mm-hmm. or the relationship will cease.
Right.
And that's what you were talking about as
right.
far as losing mm-hmm. a relative. You don't want to, but if you don't speak up, if the blood relative never speaks up and just be like, oh, that's between y'all. Oh, that's you and my cousin. Oh, that's you and my brother. Y'all, that's between y'all. It will continue to be between y'all mm-hmm. until either you decide to stop it or the blood relative decides to speak up, because they're going to respect, hopefully in maturity, they will respect their relative.
Right.
And saying, hey, this is such and such to me. Like, we can't do this. Like, I'm going to be with them forever and ever and ever. Nobody gets married to get divorced. But, so let's just stop it. I think dating is a different thing. Mm-hmm. Although I don't want anybody to go through that, but I just think dating is a different thing. But if the blood relative does not speak up and say, hey, and you have to do it however whatever works for your situation and your family,
right.
Right. You might be a family that has meetings, or you might be a family just text each other, or you might be a family just, call each other up, or just deal with it out in the middle of, Mondawmin Mall. Right. Whatever you do, that's the mall in Baltimore for those of you who are not in right. Baltimore. Whatever you do, you do it, And so, however you do it so it can be handled with respect and prayerfully love, and prayerfully it will get worked out. But there are situations, like right. I shared with you mine, that just don't always work out favorable. Not the way you might want them to work out. They don't always work out favorable, but you still got to keep moving on with your spouse. You cannot let this be a daily conversation about somebody who is not in your house.
Very true. Very true. I think another thing too that is important in those scenarios where something does go sour with in-law or something like that, you have to be willing to step up and be a remedy, fill a gap, because for example,
I need an example.
For example, if my wife's brother, right? We had a great relationship.
Yes.
But if for example, something happened with me and her brother, then if she had to make a stand, and in the midst of that stand, it caused their relationship to sever, I have to be willing to step up and to fulfill the things that he fulfilled in your life. Because if not, then I have caused a void that has not been fulfilled. And then now we have our relationship, but our relationship may be okay, but as an individual, there's still a void. You know what I'm saying? So that person has to be willing to step up and play some other positions if there has to be some severing in this process of you two establishing your union and making other people respect it the way that you respect it.
I see what you're saying. I agree, but in so many ways, it's still going to be a void. Because a
Indeed,
brother is going to
indeed.
be a brother.
Yeah,
A sister's
yeah.
going to be a sister.
Yeah.
Friend's going to be a friend.
Right.
I mean, whatever. Cousin going to be a cousin, So you can only do, if my brother always played cards with me every Friday night, and you can play cards with me,
Right.
but you don't act like my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you'll
But
fill
I'm
the
saying-
card space, but
Yeah,
it will
yeah.
still be the
Of course.
character of him
Of course.
missing.
Of course.
So, yeah. So I understand what you're saying, though. But I don't think that you caused it. I think that both of y'all caused it. Or whoever can't agree to disagree and keep it moving caused it.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and so at the end of the day, too, as spouses, you have to be willing to eat some humble pie for the sake of the team. And so,
For how long? For how long do you eat humble pie? Like, y'all, this is a real issue for me. How long do you eat humble pie? Because my pie left.
now here's she said my pie left.
My
Now
pie-
here's
my
what
pie
I say.
is
Ate all your
gone.
pie?
I ate all my
You ate
pie.
all the pie.
Pie is gone.
Right.
I don't really care no more. Like, I'm giving y'all real, like, because y'all think, some people might look at Couples Corner, hashtag goals, whatever, and think like, oh, they have it so. But y'all, we got real life things that go on too,
Yes,
just like anybody.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell y'all
Nobody's
how I
exempt.
feel right now. And this person is a close relative. How I feel right now is like humble pie gone. I ate that. You don't like me. You want me to do this. I'm not doing it. And so either we gonna get along with knowing this how Cherie gonna be, and this is how you gonna be, because I accept you for you. Or we just gonna say hi when we see each other, keep it moving. Or I won't see you. I mean, because this is the point it gets. Do I still pray for this person? Yes. Do I still love this person? Yes. Do I think they really, really realize that and understand it? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't even think they get it. I don't even think they get it, because sometimes I think people see you at a place. You have grown so many years. People are going through with their mother-in-laws, and they've been together for 25 and 30 years. But mother-in-law, did you see they grow? Did you see them grow? No, that's not everybody's situation, but most people, they've grown from the person that you didn't like when they were saying I do to now.
Right.
And part of me feels like when it comes to, and I can only talk about my family. Y'all can chime in on your your family. But I can only talk about my family. I think that they don't see me mature. They don't know how much mature I've gotten, because every time you want to talk to me, if I do anything that seems like back in the day, then you just hold me there. And that's okay, because now I'm over it. Like, it hurts me, y'all, whatever, but it don't stop my days no more. It don't make me have a 5-hour, 6-hour conversation with my husband no more, because I'm not giving you no more of that time at all. So, I just feel like I'm doing my just, and I feel like we all do our just when we're not bitter. Am I open to them loving me or being? Yeah, I am. But I just kind of am like, God, well, it ain't happening all these years. Like, when is it going to happen? Because I'm open, but I just don't. You just get to a point where you're like, okay, this humble pie, I've ate it, and it tastes good at first. Then it start being like, no, I don't want no more humble pie. And then I just let the humble pie be gone. Just didn't get another pie. Just let it go. It's empty. It's gone. No more pie at all.
No more pie
Because I'm not, and I am still me. So I still, and I have the Holy Ghost. So when God speaks to me and he tells me to reach out to somebody, I don't care if I ain't talked to you in 20 years, I'm going to do it.
Right.
Because I'm not going to suffer no more for what God tells me to do and I don't do. But if you don't respond back, I'm not going to be sad anymore. I'm not going to be like, see, that's what I'm saying. Your family members, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to do that ever again in life, ever again. Because you're not going to take some of my happiness.
Right.
You're taking my happiness now. And I don't believe that God is in that. When
Right.
you're taking my happiness in a relationship that God put together, and nobody, no man should put us under. No man, no one. I'm not going to let anybody separate or come in between our happiness anymore.
Right.
So, y'all talk to us, talk to us. Tell us how you overcome. Tell us what you're still going through so somebody can help you. And, I just know that I understand. We understand. Team Bevins understands that it's not easy. Family members is not easy. If you could just take your spouse, marry them, and just take them away to an island and just be you and them, it would be good. But no, their father calling, their mother calling, their cousin that they used to bang with, roll with every weekend is calling because they don't understand. And maybe because of some of us, we didn't lay down the law. We didn't say, hey, when I get married, hey, I'm getting married in 6 months. Hey, we might as well want to practice now.
Right.
Not that I'm not going to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Or, or
Yeah.
not that but hey, you're not going to be able to
gonna
say that
it
to
is
my
gonna be
husband.
different.
You're not going to be able to do that. It's going to be different.
And
It's
I think
gonna
too,
be different.
I think too sometimes, people don't deal with the facts that are before you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we really be honest and we really look at most of the scenarios or situations that people have with like their family members or that cause in-law dissension, you already got some issues with the person. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you already know that how that person is, you already know that that cousin
That's true.
that
That's true.
you're gonna be arguing with at every cookout because they think they know everything, they always right or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So just as a family member, as a blood relative, you already know the history that you and your cousin or you and your brother or you and your whoever it is have already had. When somebody else comes into the equation, they're gonna try to throw their weight around. You know what I mean? And so it's like, truthfully, you really wouldn't be too shocked if you really took a moment and just thought about it. The character of the person that the problem is with, this is not out of their character. This is who they were, and this is who they've been. And so in some instances, truthfully, you may have learned to accept them the way they are, while someone else may not be as accepting to that. You know what I'm saying? And they have that right to be that way. But you just like, listen, I already know, they 2 cards short. So, we ain't playing Uno with that. You know what I mean? We ain't playing I Declare War. We missing the jokers. So it's, when you know what's going on, then you know, and you approach it differently. You know what I'm saying? But you have had experience with that. So, you kind of get it a little more. In some instances, you know what I mean? Of course, that ain't every scenario, but like, if you really look at it, though, most times the signs and the consistency of the character of the people have been consistent. Like for instance, with my wife, like she said earlier, all of her family didn't like me in the beginning.
Wow.
But listen, I would say it was situational. It was not me the person.
Wow.
Because me the person, it was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got their baby girl pregnant that now I went from being a guy to being that dude that we don't really know. You know what I'm saying? So now my character changed because I got her pregnant.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? In their eyes. So now they can no longer, they don't know if they can trust me. Now they don't know what I'm going to do. Now my character has been changed because of pregnancy. It wasn't the same way, at least not to my opinion or knowledge. It wasn't the same way before pregnancy. So pregnancy really was the issue, not me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So because of the pregnancy, Now, of course, I did the pregnancy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's So now, so now that's where it all changed. We were fine before the baby. And it really wasn't even the baby here, just the baby in the belly. We was fine before the baby in the belly. But once the baby got to the belly, now I became the beast.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
But-
now things change towards me because of the baby in the belly, all because of uncertainty. Because it was okay for me to be a boyfriend. We're not sure if I'm going to be a father.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, and at the end of the day, I didn't let it bother me because I understood that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't
Yes,
gonna look
yes.
at me and say, you ain't gonna look at me and be like, oh, well, he got 3 other kids, so I know he's gonna be a good father. No, this was my first child. So this was about to be on the job training. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what I was going, I knew what I was going to do, but I didn't know how or what to do. You know what I mean? But so of course they didn't know that either. So it makes them question me now because they're trying to figure out, okay, what's going to really happen, and then of course after I start being a good father, it's kind of like, okay, but now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you going to take care of her? Are you going to take care of the baby? Are you going, So there were a lot of steps and a lot of things that I had to step up and do because pregnancy damaged a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So in the process of pregnancy damaging some stuff, I had to take ownership of the things that were broken on her side because I caused the break. Now we caused it together, but I caused the break in some of those areas. And so, so I had to step up and, like I said, fulfill those areas that became broken because that's what happened with,
I have a question. The question is, do you think if you would have married her first, then got pregnant, you think you would have went through those
No.
steps?
No, not at all.
The question was,
If I would have married her before getting her pregnant, do I think that we would have had these same issues? Not at all.
no.
Nope, not at all. I don't think we would have had not 1 ounce.
In my
of it.
case, I would have.
You would have.
Yeah. I think I would have. I think I would still have my issues. I don't know what Marcus thinks,
You playing?
but I think I would still have my issues. No, I just think they don't know me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as they think they do, and as much as they think they do know me, I think that they really don't. They really haven't taken time to be like, oh no, this is her. Like,
Like real.
she cool though. But I get, I get her. She a little rough, but I get her.
Mm-hmm.
I think they haven't taken time because they're so busy having a structure of what they want me to be.
Right.
And I'm never going to be that. I'm not. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to be that. And just by the way, that wasn't my parents. By the way, my parents
Right, yeah,
like
no.
Marcus, and my grandmother like Marcus,
Yeah.
and
In some
everybody
case-
likes
in some
them.
cases,
but
in some cases, more than they like her.
yes, like so that was my parents. But my mother did tell those people, if you don't like him, then you won't see Cherie because this is what she do. This is who she with every day. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to bring Marcus in a situation like that. If you don't like him, then we're going to do something different. Now, if we all together and we don't have no choice, we at the family reunion, hey, we'll talk it up, chat it up with you.
Right.
But after that, it's not going to be no personal visits to your house.
Right.
You had to come see us. I'm not going to put him in that situation where you think you can just say whatever you want to say.
Because
So-
at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. When the two become one, then we're one, and when we become one, you have to treat each other the same. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to become one, and then you can treat my wife any old kind of way and treat me good, or treat her treat her good and treat
that's
me
what a
any
lot of
old
people
kind
think
of
they
way.
can do.
They do. A lot
They
of
do.
people.
A lot of
think
people,
that.
even not even friends, like even just regular people, think they can treat Marcus good and treat me any kind of way and think that he's okay with it, and he's not. It's just his way. I used to get mad about it, but it's just his way. He will deal with it in his way, but he's never okay with it. Like, you just walk past my wife and you over here laughing and joking. Like, I'm never okay with that, but I'm gonna deal with that in my way. Me, I would be like, listen, slap you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, go back there, speak to my husband, and come in. But I'm changed.
Right.
Okay, so we had some comments. Don't let no one break the union. Right. No one at all. And sometimes,
including you.
yeah. Oh, sometimes it never gets better. You have to let them go. And then someone said that's their story. They was good until I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the
We're gonna
Couples
have to do a
Corner.
part two.
with
We might
Team
have a
Bevins.
part
We're
two of
grateful
this.
that you stopped by and shared your time with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again here
So we
next
thank you
week
guys
at
for
9 p.m.
tuning in with us
And
tonight.
feel free to share this
And we
on
want you
your
to work
page with
on
any of your people
relationships
who
with your
would
in-laws.
benefit
You
from
know,
this
things
conversation.
can be
We're
better,
grateful
possibly,
that you
but if
shared
they
your
can,
time with us.
then
And
you
now we
gotta
gotta
be
go,
able to
but we look
be
forward
fine with
to
the one you
connecting
marry.
with you again here on the Couples
That's just
Corner
reality.
with Team Bevins.
Thank y'all for
Thank
tuning
you
in
for
tonight.
tuning in.
We'll see you next time
Have a
on
good
the
night.
Couples Corner.